Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Nocebo, starring Eva Green, Mark Strong, a thriller about a woman who is suffering from some kind of debilitating disease that ruins her motor coordination and her memory. And then she hires a woman from a foreign land, I'll say. I'm not sure where she's from, who comes up with ancient remedies to cure her. But is she curing her out of the goodness of her heart, or is she controlling her and ruining her life? Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links are in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 9. Okay. So, this looks interesting. Because this is a take on never invite another woman into your house kind of situation. But instead of the caretaker seducing the husband, she doesn't really seduce the wife, but she uses her ancient remedies to cure her and then maybe influence her in a weird way. And you see Mark Strong is kind of figuring it out, like, what the hell is she doing? Next thing you know, she's off the meds and feeling great, but, you know, the woman keeps doing all these strange things, and the dog keeps looking at her in a weird way, and next thing you know, she's eating crazy amounts of drugs and strange powders, and Mark Strong is saying, "Stay away from my wife, leave her alone." And then there's this weird scene where she's opening her mouth and a bird comes out of it. I mean, it's bizarre. It's called Nocebo. Like placebo or nocebo, I guess. All right, I can't read these credits. Directed by, it looks like, Lorcan Finnegan. It sounds like an Irish name. Finnegan. Lorcan. Written by Garrett Shanley. And this might be an Irish production. I'm seeing a lot of Irish names. Interesting. But Mark Strong, great actor. Seen him in a lot of stuff. It's interesting to see him in something like this. It seems kind of beneath his pay grade these days. I mean, he's in big movies. This seems like a small movie. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just weird to see him in this movie. Or is this a big movie? I don't know. Didn't seem like a big movie. But, you know, he is a great actor. And I like the look of the woman from the old country, I'll say. I'm not sure where she's from. She may be Inuit. Maybe? I'm guessing. I can't quite tell. But she's definitely from a culture that has sort of ancient remedies. You can see the woman's in pain. She's having problems with her arm and memory and all these things. And then when she shows up, the woman doesn't even remember asking her in. So there's like this weird mystical quality. Did the woman just show up, right? Because she sensed she was needed and then just shows up on her doorstep. And is she a good influence or an evil one? Is it Mark Strong overreacting, or is she actually here to cure her, or is she here to prey on her in some way? I mean, there's a lot you could do with that. It's a different take on a thriller, because normally, and I would say this with most American thrillers, it's about sex and money and power and things like that. This is about something else. This is about something older. It's like almost, it's kind of borderline supernatural and mystical. And that's why I kind of like it, because you've set up this vulnerable character of the woman who's sick, but she has responsibilities and she's trying to hold it together. And then this woman comes in with her crazy incense and voodoo witch doctoring and cures her at first, but there's something more to it. And that's where Mark Strong comes in. And then she's also snooping on him. So the first act, I would imagine, would be to establish your main character. I think this is Eva Green, and has this great life, but she's having medical problems that she can't seem to overcome with traditional Western medicine, right? And she's slowly becoming overwhelmed because of her condition. She has a kid to raise, she has a career and a relationship, and it's all starting to slowly unravel, and it's looking like it's going to be a bad time for her if something doesn't change. Then, like magic, this woman, mysterious woman, I don't know what her name is, shows up at her door. All right? So this is the end of the first act, right? She shows up, and she's going to be her helper, and that's kind of just what she needs. But she doesn't remember summoning her, right? So that's a little odd. But she comes in, and things start to get better because now she has an assistant, even though she's in rough shape. Then one day she has an attack at the dinner table. This is after she gets in, meets her family. She has an attack at the dinner table, and the woman cures her. See, she has an attack, and then the woman uses her old school ways to cure her. And now she starts to feel better. And as the second act progresses, she goes more and more into the treatment from this woman, and her non-traditional treatment makes her better and better and better. And then next thing you know, her meds are done. They just throw them away or whatever. And she starts to have more and more influence over his wife. But at some point, Mark Strong sees her start to cross lines. Maybe they get into some sort of conflict, and Mark Strong is like, hey, the question is, what does the witchy woman want? And here's, I don't know, their dog, and she's using her strange powers on the dog too, feeding her strange concoctions, and it escalates from there. And then, you know, towards the end of the second act, Mark Strong realizes, no, this woman is some kind of evil force, and she has to be stopped. And Mark Strong sets out to stop her, but I don't know. I don't know if he can. The question is, does he die? He might get killed, and then the woman has to. Do we have a date on this movie? No. Mark Strong might have to do something, and then he is either killed or injured and taken out of the picture, and then it's Eva Green that has to overcome, this force, whatever it is, and she probably overcomes it. I would say the ending to this movie is she's faced with a choice, and she chooses going back to the way she was, and dealing with that, as opposed to going down the path with the witch doctor woman, who I think the implication is she's leading her down a dark path somehow, right? And then she either dies or disappears or leaves, and she sort of goes back to Mark Strong, or he's dead, and then she just goes on with her life. But she overcomes this thing, whatever it is, this force, or this woman's magic. Maybe it's magic. I don't know. They're not showing any magical stuff. So I think it's all implied. I think it's all very subtle. It looks subtle. So, would I see this movie? I might. It don't look bad. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of thrillers, but they can be exciting. I like the twist on this one. It's a little different. Not a lot of supernatural thrillers like this. It's almost like like a love triangle, but different. So I kind of like that angle. I don't think I've seen anything like this. Usually if it's supernatural, it's more like one of the characters goes away to an exotic country and gets caught up in that. Caught up in, I don't know, voodoo or whatever. Or it's like a ghost story or something like that. This is a little different. It's almost like, I don't know. It's like a Twilight Zone episode, but extended to a movie form. But I kind of like it because I feel that it's a little different. Can't recall a plot line like this. So it's a Shudder movie, and they're really kicking up their game. I mean, you got Mark Strong in the mix. It's pretty good draw, I'll say. And that Shudder's doing it. It kind of opens the door a little more because I think they're kind of doing different movies, and they have their own channel, and it's sort of like, well, this is a Shudder original. So this might even already be on Shudder. I think they've released their trailers kind of close to their release, or maybe they come out at the same time. I'm not sure, but I would see this. Yeah. Would I go out of my way to see it? I kind of got to be in the mood for it, but this seems like a solid Halloween entry, Halloweeny entry, a more subtle one. It's not going to be like her head splits open and monsters come out of it, but it's going to be more of a subtle sort of like, was she a witch doctor? Did she have powers, or was she just a weirdo who drugged my wife and for a while she felt okay? And then maybe by the end of the movie you don't even know the answer to that question and she just mysteriously vanishes as quickly as she came. That to me would be a great ending if they could pull that off. She's gone, but they don't. Will she come back? And maybe the implication is that the wife kind of summoned her to begin with, and if the wife isn't strong, she will come back, right? And so the wife has to stay strong, but maybe she goes back to having problems with her arm, and her situation is deteriorating, and then maybe it's sort of the ending, like, well, someday she may be weak again, weak enough, and the woman will return. And Mark Strong has to sort of live with that, and he has to watch, and he has to prepare himself for that day, and that's kind of the end of the movie. It's kind of an unnerving ending, right? It's like, we've defeated evil for now. Not bad, if that's the ending. Not sure the name, though. Maybe that's her name. Maybe it's like a weird exotic name I'm not aware of. Nocebo. But I want to say it feels like placebo, but with an N-O in front of it, right? So it's like she's a placebo, but not. Is that a real term? Nocebo? Maybe a placebo that's not supposed to be kind of thing? I don't know. I think with Mark Strong in it, you got a shot at making this a breakout movie, Shutter. Because a lot of people like Mark Strong. He's a good actor. And this seems like an interesting concept. So good on you. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble. Rumble's blowing up. I got 402 subscribers now. That surpassed Bitchute. That is now my biggest alt-tech channel. So if you're not on Rumble, you really got to be there, man. Get to Rumble. I mean, all my stuff's on Rumble. I transfer everything onto Rumble eventually. Sometimes these are a little late. But I think you want to be there because, I don't know, man. One day YouTube's just going to start shutting people off left and right. I mean, I like YouTube. I mean, I like the idea of YouTube. I like old YouTube, basically. I wish they would go back to that, but if they're not, I mean, Rumble is going to become the new YouTube at some point because all the cool stuff's on there. And for now, I mean, at some point they may start, I don't know, doing something. But for now, they're rock solid. Get over there. Just get yourself an account for the day the purge happens on YouTube. Anyhow, we'll see you